You know, it's often the most unexpected circumstances, like an accident or a fall, that makes planning nearly impossible. So that's why it's smart to have a plan in place to know how to respond and who to call for help. Today, we're at Orthopedic One to speak with Dr. Scott Van Amen. How you doing, doctor?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. When we're talking about these injuries, a lot of times it could be trauma to bones or joints. So talk about your trauma team here at Orthopedic One.
Well, most of the time when we encounter patients who've had traumas, we meet them at the hospital in the emergency room after severe injuries. And their journey might start in an ambulance being brought to the hospital, critically injured, with circumstances way beyond their control. So I think it's important to have a plan preemptively, so you know who you want and make sure you're getting in touch with an experienced team of surgeons before you get into that situation.
Right, because how important are those first moments? Those are big decisions to make in such a short span of time.
Those first moments are critical and often determine the outcome of a patient's situation. And it's very important that those decisions are made wisely, even under dire circumstances.
And it was one of those moments that you met Mifflin Township firefighter Anthony Torres, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Anthony is with us today. First, Anthony, I want to say thank you so much for risking your life every day for our community. You do amazing work.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to take us to the day of the accident. What happened? What was that?
Decided to go on a motorcycle ride, which I often did, and I was just going down the road and came into an intersection and a car pulled out in front of me.
You were faced with a very difficult decision right off the bat. What was that?
Option A is you can try to salvage your limb, and that's going to be years of surgeries, and you'll probably never walk right again. And I'm a very active person. That certainly wasn't an option for me. And just basically it was all doom and gloom of option A is trying to save your foot.
Right.
And certainly would never be able to be a firefighter again. Or option B was amputation, and I'd be able to do everything that I used to be able to do. And I asked him, including being a firefighter, and he basically was like, I don't see why not. So
wow. Talk about your recovery and how great of work Orthopedic One did in your physical therapy and get you back.
When I see someone with a prosthesis on, you think, oh, it's no big deal, they put on and they go, and there's so much more to it. There's so much, it's not an easy thing to do. So, and again, this is the great unknown for me of how I was going to be able to function, let alone, be a firefighter again. And when I came to Orthopedic One for my physical therapy the first time with Jeff, I was walking in on crutches with my prosthesis on, and he basically took the crutches and threw them across the room, and
wow.
I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be great, and that's what I needed, And physically, it was the most challenging thing ever done in my life. It took me 11 months, which, was I thought it'd be a lot sooner, believe it or not, but 11 months certainly was a long time, almost a year of my life, physically getting fit, but, really the mental part of it too. When you have limb loss, there's, only so many people understand what that really is like, and it's hard to describe to somebody. And that was one of the things with Dr. Van Amen and Jeff. They cared. I would have an issue that would come up, and I was able to, they helped me mentally get over it. I mean, certainly physically and surgically and all that, but they were almost like my psychiatrist as well, if you will. So, you have your good days and bad like anything, but when you have a bad day with this, it's, a little bit harder sometimes. So that was one thing I really appreciated with Orthopedic One and the team here. They really cared. I truly feel like they were my friends, and they really were there for me. So that really meant a lot to me.
Anthony, thank you so much for letting us share your story today.
Thank you.
And if you want to hear more stories like Anthony's and know exactly what to do in those situations, just visit the website, orthopedicone.com.